So my garage has been the location for a ton of videos on this channel over the years. We've done a lot of bike stuff in there, working on bikes, building bikes, done cool videos with friends in there. I think I even did some videos just sprucing that place up in general, building it into the garage that you see today. Well, now it's time for this to take its next step in evolution. As I mentioned in a few videos, we're looking for space to move Rogue Lab into right now, and that has been an absolute nightmare for me, to say the least. I won't even get into it because that could pretty much be its own video. I've got a bunch of stories to tell when it comes to that. But the business is continually growing, and there are certain things that we need to keep up with that growth, and I can't keep stalling it anymore. I can't keep waiting until we move into a new space. So I'm just gonna keep using the space that I have available, and we're gonna do something with this. So I got to work and started tearing stuff apart in there. The first thing that had to go was my sandblaster and powder coat spray booth. That was a sacrifice I had to make. Kind of sucks, but that's possibly the messiest thing that I could have ever had in that garage. And then I had to spend 3 straight days cleaning up afterwards, cleaning all the dust that got into every little square inch of that place and build up over the last 8 or 9 years, whatever it's been. Yeah, it was not fun. I also ended up sacrificing pretty much all my motorcycle spare parts that I've collected over the years and some of my other beloved tools. That part kind of sucked too, but again, it's a sacrifice that I needed to make. I am 100% dedicated to this business and making it grow, making it work, so sometimes you gotta let some stuff go. But after 3 straight days of cleaning my ass off in there, this place is as clean, as organized, and as space efficient as it's ever been before. I seriously went to the extent of wiping down every single item in there, and if you have any idea what I have in there, you know that was not easy to do. But it had to be a completely clean and dust-free environment because we got some new equipment coming today. Now, a lot of you are probably thinking that an automated press would be the next logical step in the business, which it kind of is. We definitely need one because I'm printing way more than one person ever should, but again, short on space. I don't want to move the printing out of the house and out of the spot that it's in right now, so that's out until we get a new spot. But since day one, since this crazy idea popped into my head, I've always wanted Rogue Lab to be a business that can do anything for our clients. I want to have everything in-house that can do whatever they need. And actually, I'm pretty sure I talked about that way back in the first video when I announced that I was going to start Rogue Lab. So we started off with the heat transfer stuff like most do, moved into the screen printing, and then for the last 1.5 years, I've been busting absolute ass on that, trying to get good at it, build up our client base, and just keep putting out quality work. And that's been working really well for us. So now it's time to expand into another market. We're getting a wide format printer. Well, I can't even begin to tell you. I've wanted one of these things for so damn long. They're so cool. They can make so much cool shit, from stickers, vehicle wraps, banners. The list those things can make is super long. It's actually kind of impressive. I went through all that stuff over the last few days, and there's way more out there than I even knew about. There is gonna be a lot for me to learn in a very short amount of time. I definitely anticipate myself making a lot of mistakes and whatever, and that's just part of learning. You gotta do it to figure out the right way to do things. But I'm ready for it. I'm ready to drop kick this challenge in the chest. This printer is set to show up here in probably like the next 5-10 minutes. Well, this is gonna be another one of those moments where we talk about things not going very well because they're not going very well. So we're now a little over 6 hours into the setup process of this thing, which really should have been very, very quick and very easy to do. And this thing hasn't so much as spit out 1 drop of ink yet. And that's because of the serious lack of compatibility with Mac products. I don't know what it is with this industry. With screen printing, it seems to be like this. With the embroidery side, it seems to be like this. I've been researching that lately. And with this, I didn't think it was gonna be an issue, but apparently it is. That companies just don't support Mac stuff. And this isn't just some surprise thing that popped up either. This is something that I brought up numerous times in the purchasing of this thing, that we are on Mac machines here. Myself and all my guys were on Mac stuff, and that's that. And I was assured, yep, no problems. We'll be up and running in no time. It's not a big deal. Well, the first problem is that VersaWorks, the RIP software for this thing, is not Mac compatible whatsoever. Zero, nothing. And they have no plans to even make it Mac compatible. So That's pretty ridiculous. They do have a Mac version of their software, apparently, as from what I can find online, but as I was told today, as this was being set up, is that's not even available anymore for whatever reason, so there's that. There is, however, a third-party RIP software that's designed to work with this printer and work with Mac, but the downside of that is it's third party, so you kind of lose some support along the way. You have to fill little gaps here and there yourself and troubleshoot a lot, which is something that I'm not super scared of. I'm somewhat smart, I think, sometimes, but still, there's gonna be those like odd times where you need help, and it's a little dicey. But the big thing for me on that is that software is $3,200. Like, it is stupid money, and I can tell you I ain't paying for it. So then the next logical step was to install Parallels on my Mac. That way I can run Windows on there. Not a big deal. Got that going, got the VersaWorks installed on there. Seemed like things were gonna be good to go, and then it came to the wireless setup of this thing, and yeah, tech couldn't seem to figure that out. All right, so the wireless doesn't work. Let's hardwire this thing. It has no USB out at all. The only external cable this thing has is Ethernet, and I haven't seen an Ethernet port on a laptop in, I don't know, 5-6 years. They don't make them anymore because you don't need them. Oh, and I also dropped this lens face first on the concrete, by the way, so it's all kind of broken. It's still working, but still, that did not feel good, dropping a $2,000 lens and watching pieces scatter across the floor. It's been the most stressful day I've had in a very long time, I'm gonna say that. And man, it's tough, you know, like, worked so hard for this, worked every single day for the last year and a half, whatever it's been since this started. Like, I just non-stop going and going and going. I haven't taken a day off. I think I've taken like 4 days off, period, since this started, trying to make stuff like this happen. I've been dreaming about this day for so long, and the day finally comes and just right up Schitt's Creek. So as of right now, I own a really expensive paperweight. The plan for tomorrow is he's coming back again. He had a computer with him here today that he couldn't get set up on there either for whatever reason, so he's coming back with another one. I also have 2 contingency plans for myself. I have a PC that's like fully spec'd out, a laptop that's got pretty much everything that you could get in it. I bought it to run the Wilflex ink mixing software that I use for my screen printing stuff because, again, that's only PC compatible. But of course, it being a laptop, there's no Ethernet port on it because we live in 2020 and we don't need them. So yeah, I got a USB-C Ethernet adapter that will work on that and my Mac showing up tomorrow morning. So that way I've got 2 fail-safes here and zero excuses that can happen when it comes to setting this thing up. I want to see this thing dancing like a damn ballerina tomorrow and spitting out cool stuff. Otherwise, the other game plan is to get it the hell out of here real fast. And yeah, I'll just get something different, because when you dump tens and tens of thousands of dollars into some equipment, you expect that shit to work beautifully. And I've not experienced any of that so far. I guess on the bright side, if we're gonna try and glass half full anything, the laminator works fine. It's a big old analog unit, no problems there. Turn it on, works like a charm. So at least something here works, but I don't have anything cool to put in there, so it's pretty much a paperweight too. All right, I gotta get out of here before my anger level climbs anymore. I've been stuffing that down this whole time so I can talk like a regular, rational human being. I can assure you when this thing turns off, it's gonna be an entirely different story. So let's continue this on tomorrow. Just work, let me make cool stuff. So, update number 2. I really didn't film a lot today at all because I wanted to focus on getting this goddamn thing running finally. And, well, we kind of did. Things started to look up. We got it spitting out prints from his computer, so that was cool. We know that the printer is actually working. I eventually got Boot Camp and Windows and all that stuff running on my computer, which was pretty dicey, to say the least. It had a lot of issues with that. We could not get it working on there. Somebody had to access my computer remotely from Roland, set some stuff on there, and finally it started to work. So at that point I was like almost excited, so I was like, all right, let's start testing some stuff out, see what the workflow is like and whatever, and that's where things just went super wrong, and I got really sour about it. So first of all, with Boot Camp, I'm sure a lot of you know if you've run Boot Camp on a Mac before, you've got to restart every single time you switch back and forth between the two, hence the name boot camp. So whatever, I ended up putting parallels on my computer to avoid that. Well, that would not allow any of this other stuff to work, so that had to be cut out of the equation. So I spent, you know, $170 on that for nothing. And then there was like all kinds of weird stuff going on. There was a lot of like IP address stuff and DNS setting stuff that goes back and forth between these two that have to be manually set, even though it's got a hardwired connection. Got it to work and whatever. And by the end of this, like, the workflow was crazy. Like, for me to print out one sticker, it took about like, I don't know, 5-6 minutes to go back and forth between all the stuff, get the file, jump back into Windows, put the file in there, set things up, blah, blah. Like, just something that should have taken me 3 seconds took way, way longer than it needed to. So I was already kind of pissed off about that. But then I was like, man, we've been doing a lot of really weird messing around here, and it seems very, very fragile, and I don't like that. I don't feel good about it. And so I just kind of like, you know, just let's check something out real quick, and I restart my computer, and sure enough, it wiped all that work that we did away clean, and it would not connect to my computer again. He tried his computer again, and it wouldn't connect to that one either. And I actually managed to get a demo of that third-party software out of the company that makes it, the kind that runs on Mac between these things, and that was supposed to kind of fix all the problems. Well, that wouldn't connect to it either. And also, that software, for being $3,000 plus, is it's so, like, that user interface looks like it was made in 1998. It's so bad. So finally, after like 5 more hours of sitting around with our thumbs in our asses, I finally just told the dude, like, let's call time of death on this thing. It is what it is. This is not gonna work. This machine, let's get this thing out of here. I don't want it anymore. And it sucks because, like, again, I've dreamed of owning one of these for long before Rogue Lab existed, and to have it go this badly is just, it's eating away at me. But I've been sitting here for like an hour reflecting on all these failures, and I can't go out like that, man. I can't. It'll drive me crazy. I won't be able to sleep for a week. So I'm making a last ditch effort here. As I mentioned before, I do have a PC laptop, so I'm gonna set that up out here now. The guy took all his stuff with him. He had like all the software on a USB drive, but I dug around in those boxes and I actually found the software comes on a disc. Like, in 2020, they're still giving out these with this big ass expensive printer. It's unbelievable. Nothing has a disc drive anymore. So I sent someone out to get me a disc drive to be able to play the goddamn thing. Thank you. And there it is. So hopefully that will allow me to at least successfully install the software onto that PC and hopefully somehow make something work out of this. By the end of this, I'm gonna be a Roland tech, or there's gonna be a flaming hot pile of shit in the garage. Holy shit. I think it's connected. Oh my God. I need a USB drive. I gotta get some files going. Tell me you're gonna work. I hear this thing making noise. Give it to me. Print something. Holy fucking shit! Oh, it's printing! Fuck you! Woo! Really, what I did was I factory reset this thing, so started over from scratch again, and I got it working on the first crack. Like, come on. I'm gonna shut this thing down and restart it, and just to make sure nothing real crazy happens, but I think we got something here. Looks like the second test is gonna work. Print some shit out, you beautiful bastard. Oh, yes! 2 days of messing around, being pissed off, and having the worst time ever, and like 20 minutes of being by myself with this thing. I nailed it. That's the main battle taken care of now, so that's a good thing. Next thing I gotta figure out is getting the colors and the resolution, everything just to look sharper. I've got everything set to the max settings right now as far as resolution's concerned. The color just, it's not there for me yet. All right, so I've printed out a bunch of different tests. I think I found a color profile that I like. It's still not exactly what I'd like it to be. I'd like more dense, more vibrancy, just more everything. But for now, I found one that actually kind of works. And I think what I'm gonna do to test things out is I've got my existing Rogue Lab stickers here that I got made by somebody else before I got this printer. So I wanna see if I can replicate that. If I can replicate that, then I know this thing can do what I want it to do. Oh, and it just keeps on coming. So I've tried a whole bunch of these things. I've printed off probably like 15 test prints. print quality is just, it's not there. It's shit, to be honest with you. The colors are not dense, they're not solid. The black is really, really grainy. Just across the board, it just doesn't look good at all. And at this point, I've tried all the different color profiles, all the quality settings, a whole bunch of different stuff, whatever the stock stuff had to offer, and well, none of it's working. So at this point, I think I gotta give up on that at least, because I'm just gonna sit here and test print all day and get the same results. So I think what I'm gonna do is wait until tomorrow and call Roland or start calling around some other people that maybe have these things and try to figure out how I can get this thing to print nice, dense, solid color. I expect to be a lot further ahead than this, especially having someone come in and set me up properly. And yeah, turns out that wasn't the case, and I ran the show here to get as far as we're at now, so to be continued. All right, well, we're on day 3 now. It's been a journey, to say the least. So where we ended off last night, I had this thing running, perfect, no issues whatsoever with connectivity. I tried reboot, I tried messing around with stuff as much as I possibly could to create a problem. No problems there, awesome. But the print quality coming out of this thing was just, it was horrible. It was so bad. It's something I would never sell to anybody. It just looked like dog shit. I went through, I don't know, I probably spent 6 hours or so going through all the different color profiles and tweaking settings and just trying everything that I possibly could to make this thing print out a clean image. And I got it like, yeah, maybe 60% of the way to where I would need it to be, but definitely nowhere near a professional level. So I spent a whole bunch of time cruising around the internet trying to find a solution to this problem, trying to find there's some settings somewhere that I'm missing, or what is it? Well, after all that, I kind of was able to narrow it down to the printhead itself, something to do with printhead alignment or calibration or something. There's like 20 something adjustments in this head alone that obviously dictate how well this thing prints. So I ripped off a bunch more test prints. I called that same guy this morning. He was gonna come down here again, was like, oh, we'll get that thing running today. I was like, actually, no, sorry, I did that myself, thank you. But this thing's still printing like shit. And he's like, well, no, that's just the way it looks, and that's that. And I was just like, no, absolutely fucking not. There's no way that anyone who's using one of these is letting these kind of prints slide. It's terrible. It looks so bad. They're just full of grain. None of the colors were solid. The blacks were just grainy as all hell. It was a really ugly print. Like, it couldn't even keep up with my little $100 HP sitting on my desk right now. So after that, I was like, well, get this piece of shit out of here then, because I don't want it. I'll get something else. And that's kind of where that left off. But thankfully, a friend of mine who works with these things was like, try something else, try a different tech. Let's see if we can solve this problem, because it sounds like it's something very simple and something that can be fixed. So I was like, all right, let's give it one more shot. So a super top secret ninja tech who works on these things helped me out today, and man, the calibration and all the adjustments and stuff that are supposed to be done during install on this thing, he said were hilariously out of whack. Like, it wasn't even close to where it needs to be. So we got that thing dialed in a bunch. First test print that came out of it was literally like miles better, not even close to what was coming out of it the day before. And he was really helpful in explaining on how these calibrations are done and what they do exactly. And I was very able to understand just how bad this thing was, but like, when he saw where it was at, he literally laughed. So yeah, thanks to that awesome person, this thing is now printing beautifully and is problem-free. So I think it's gonna stay here. I still got some shit to deal with the other company that I got this thing from, because clearly I'm not happy with them whatsoever, and the way this whole thing went down is just so bad. I kind of had a feeling the whole way through this that this guy really didn't know what he was doing, clearly, because he was here for 2 days just trying to get this thing to print and nothing was happening. So yeah, my suspicions were confirmed, I'll say that much. I'm gonna try and hold in my rage insults right now. But yeah, I think this thing's gonna stay. Like, it's printing pretty awesome right now. There's still a little bit of a head adjustment needed, like not enough that you're really gonna notice it by eye, but you guys know how I am. I want that extra little 1% advantage if I can get it. And I just gotta do some dicking around, try and get my warranty moved over to somewhere else so that I can get a different tech to come here to operate this thing, and we'll get that squared away and knock out some sweet shit. But it's still operating at like 99.5%, which is awesome, and I'm gonna print some stuff for myself first just to kind of get the hang of things. I still have to learn how to use that laminator, by the way. I have no instruction on that. Yeah, that's gonna be a whole other thing, but let's print something off real quick before we end this thing off. Let's print out a real big-ass Rogue Lab logo. Like, obviously it's gonna have to be blue because everything in here is red and blue. Apparently this vinyl is good for floor graphics. Let's give us a big floor logo. Oh, it's so good. Oh, I shouldn't touch it. It's so good. You have no idea how good this feels. I've been stressing so bad for the last couple days. I've barely slept in like 3 days now, and yeah, tonight I'm gonna sleep like a goddamn baby, because that's some good stuff right there. So we gotta let this chill and outgas for a while. What that means is, it's a solvent ink, so solvent dries by evaporation. So we gotta let all the shit get out of there before we laminate this thing and stick it down to the floor. So I think this is gonna be a 2-part video. Plus in the next day or so, we're gonna have a couple more things rolling in here. Tony's been hard at work building us some really cool vinyl racks and a super sick work table. So that's gonna roll in here. Plus I should probably take the time to figure out how to work that laminator before I jam that thing through it, or jam my fingers or something worse through. So yeah, I'm gonna do that. Oh man, this feels so good. Not only to have this working, obviously, but working so hard for so long to get one of these things in here. Now that I finally have one here, it's like it's almost surreal. Like we just hit another big milestone, and now that it is here, we're gonna be doing some real killer shit with it. Anyways, I gotta get this whole mess that I've made throughout this place cleaned up. It was so sparkling clean 3 days ago when this started, and this is really bothering me now. So part number 2 of getting this whole operation set up and running coming up next. We'll see you in the next one. Can't even tell what my exposure looks like. Can't see the fucking screen. Ruin the shot. I just swallowed a bug. Oh, pure wasabi. Oh, oh, it's like instant. I can breathe better than I've ever been able to do in my entire life. Oh, I can smell for miles. There's a reason why I haven't touched anything Windows since like 2008, because I hate it so much, everything about it. Ugh. 13 hours out here so far today. I don't think there's really gonna be any outtakes in this video because nothing funny has happened at all. It's just been me being really angry the whole time, and no one wants to watch that.